Tracy's
Claudia.
bringing more at a later meeting.
Okie dokie.
But
And speaking of Dan, there's Dan.
Speaking of Mr. Ping.
maybe we should have kept the door closed.
Who'd you let in there?
Like 18
No, I had to leave early to come to this clown show. You really didn't know that was me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Brent goes, I don't get Commissioner Wiggins. He's Glad you were there. Thank you, baby. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you. How you doing?
Happy holidays. Thank you, my dear.
Thank you. Tracy, you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, we'll go ahead and call to order the meeting of the Sanford City Commission work session for Monday, December 8th, 2025. First item of discussion is the city manager's evaluation. I took the spreadsheet that had everyone's scores in it and reduced it down just to ones that someone marked as a 2. And then just to give us something easier to go by. And in doing that, I know I am saying we're only talking about the things that are rated low. And, you know, there are many things that didn't have any 2s, and so we're not really talking about those because those are usually not the things that people want to discuss. But I do want to make it clear that we know that this isn't the whole evaluation. I provide that just as a way we can go through it if that's what y'all want to do. Or we can go from the whole spreadsheet and go through.
Glad you explained that. I was thinking there was something missing.
So is that what we want to do, is just?
I think for time and efficiency, I think that's a good idea.
Okay.
As long as there's an opportunity for ballots.
Yeah. Commissioner Thomas, probably the most thorough evaluation I've ever seen on my time in the commission in terms of balance, and I don't necessarily agree with all of your scores, but I do think you did a good job identifying the good and the not so good.
Try to be
So
comprehensive.
I appreciate that you put all that into it. Anyway,
Mayor, for purposes of just disclosure, Commissioner Thomas and I have already spoken that we will be meeting in the beginning of the year.
okay.
I'd probably be scheduling more regular meetings.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is part of your recommendation.
And I was going to, when we got to that one, but since we're here, I was going to say, go in his door anytime you want, right? So.
I do, to get a Diet Coke.
Yeah.
Shouldn't drink that stuff.
All right, so let's get going. Under professional skills and integrity, the only one marked a 2 was energetic and willing to spend whatever time is necessary to do a good job. The average was a 3.75. I know I see him here late, taking care of things. I know I see him at a lot of events and a lot of things. I think he's always present. Others? Comments?
Somebody didn't turn your lead?
There was a letter from Commissioner Britton, who will, by the way, Commissioner Britton won't be here this evening, saying that she chose not.
Until 7.
Yeah, she'll be here at the 7 o'clock meeting. She chose not to complete an evaluation and said that her evaluation from last year stands.
With pretty detailed explanation on why she took that approach.
I believe
And if
that's
you
in-
haven't read that, you probably might want to.
I believe it was in the packet.
Yes, it was.
I didn't see it.
It was in there.
Here, you want to pass that down? Okay, so any comments on that one?
The comments I made there were not seeing him demonstrate energetic qualities and the desire to spend whatever time is necessary to do a good job to warrant a 3 rating. That includes doing the hard things that might be necessary to overcome the problems we have had, whether that be taking a harder look at the budget or making changes to personnel.
I think,
But I will mitigate that with others who do observe him being here after hours that I don't see. So I think you're just more in tune with that.
Commissioner Austin, do you have something?
I don't think there's anybody in the community that would ever say that Mr. Bonaparte doesn't exude energy for his position, and he is here endless hours of the night. certainly can maybe not agree or like how he does his job, but energetic and spending time has never been an issue in my eyes.
I definitely can't speak against it because everything I have, he's there. And so, and they're front and center. The only thing I can't get him to do is get out there and shoot the basketball. Other than that, I don't see how anybody can say that.
Okay.
Okay, and just for the audience's, there were 13 items in that category, and we talked about one. Under policy execution, reviews ordinances, policies, and procedures periodically to suggest improvements. And, you know, as I go through the evaluation and his job description, it's not necessarily he personally reviews, right? But he has his staff reviewing things, is how I see it. I don't know if that's how we mean it or not, but that's how, you know, I think he's got different departments looking at different things. Anybody else?
Looking back at I did have some positives there. Mr. Bonaparte performs about what I would consider standard when it comes to fostering ethical behaviors and demonstrating integrity. That wasn't it. By the way, before we continue, my caveat before I did all of this was that I realize this is my first year doing reviews here, but I've done many over many decades. I've been on the receiving and the giving end. I've administered all the systems when it comes to performance reviews, so I'm very familiar with the process. And because of that, I know not to avoid things like halo effects, negative biases, other factors that affect reliable ratings. So when I do these, I take these definitions literally, that if you're meeting my expectations, that's a 3. And that's the way I rate people.
What is halo effect?
Halo effect means you have a positive view about certain things, and you tend to just start to translate that to other factors that may not be as positive.
Okay.
It's just like this halo that affects everything in a good way.
Okay.
So that's my caveat.
Okay. The next one is offers workable alternatives to commission for changes when an ordinance or policy proves impractical, prevents matters in a factual, analytical way, coordinates council policy decisions to staff. This is one my guess is my score went up this year on this one. That's something I have spoken with him many times about, the first part of that, offering the workable alternatives. I frequently am asking for the professional's opinion, knowing that we make the decision. He is always aware that we make the decision. Sometimes we have to get him to provide us those alternatives. Anybody else?
And on this one, I know he's very supportive of commission decisions when we make them. Not seeing quite enough evidence that I'd like to see on policy procedure reviews. And one example, we should have been reviewing and modifying our permitting procedures long before the issue became such a big one. I'd also like to see more progress in how we communicate policy decisions to the community, as in fire assessment fees, utility repair issues. And I'm not quite satisfied that we're addressing mission-critical services and taking satisfactory remedial action, as evidenced in how we dealt with issues at the North Wastewater Treatment Plant. Yes, it does require custom-built replacement parts that we were told couldn't be kept in stock, but now we will be stocking a backup to that part. That's a question. In addition, satisfactory remedial action would have included much better communication about this to the public. Too little, too late.
And the Commissioner, the reason we're getting a backup is so that we don't have the problem again.
Yeah, and if there is a backup that you could have, maybe we should have had it to begin with. A little bit of hindsight there, but nonetheless, worth noting.
And in terms of the communication to the public, not now, but probably in January, we need to probably have a conversation about what is the mayor's role and what is the city manager's role in speaking for the city.
Yeah, less confusion about that.
Because, between the city manager and I, we sort of agreed that I would be the face of the city. And then the commission and some of the public decided that's not really what they wanted. So we need to have that discussion.
Let's definitely talk
and
about that.
know, and so that we all know exactly who does what.
Agreed.
Well, okay, since you've opened that door, if that's the way it's supposed to be, we should have been told that. So our expectations were not what they are. That's number one. Number two, I don't care whose fault it is. You can point fingers at all of us up here. I don't really care. That situation was handled poorly. We could have communicated it way better,
Regardless of who did.
no matter whose role that was. So for future reference, let's get our house in order on how to handle those situations.
But I think at a minimum, having the public know the expectation of who they will hear from
Well,
will fix the when they hear what.
but this kind of goes back to what I've been harping about for years, Commissioner Thomas. I would like us to do a better job of explaining how this city government works. This city government works differently than Orlando city government, okay? And not every city is the same. And so our constituents hold us to a standard maybe from other cities they've been in or other cities they follow, not knowing what the rules of the game are here. And who should be the face of the city or the information source.
Yeah.
And so I don't think sometimes we just explain how this business works. And I know we're not a business, but yeah, we really are.
Yeah. But you're right, there are different forms of government, even from one city to the next. But let's just make
And the
sure
county.
we know and we explain to the public
Yeah.
what our charter says and what our rules are and how we communicate.
Right, anything else under policy execution? Okay, so that was 3 of the 7 items. Under relations with city commission, informs the commission of administrative developments, helps the commission address future needs and develop adequate plans to address long-term trends. And informs the commission of administrative developments. I mean, I feel like I'm well informed, but I also know that I'm copied on a lot more emails than the rest of the commission is.
Yeah, it must be.
So, and then they address future needs and develop adequate plans to address long-term trends. I may have rated that a little higher than I should have.
Yeah, and all the comments I made had to do with all of my twos in this section, so you already heard my statements.
Anybody else on those?
I think.
And when we talk about informs, oh, were you going to say something?
I just realized we were on the next section. Keeping the commission informed, and to your point about getting a lot more emails than we do, what I had written here was, in one respect, we were all disappointed that Porch Fest was canceled for next year. And while that was their decision, what disappoints me is that when reviewing the timeline, which we finally got, those of us who finally got it, there appeared to be a potential issue back in May when they requested a meeting, brainstorming session, event, they were talking about the incredibly tough decision to scrap it. That was back in May. And I can't speak for the other commissioners, but I knew nothing about that. And it's not that it would have been my decision to make or change anybody's mind, but I feel like if we had put more time into that point in time to say, is there really an issue with what we're negotiating here? And more reasons or more answers than just yours, Mayor. I think you maybe took on more than you should have without more voices.
What do you mean?
Because if there was a tough decision to scrap it, and now that I've
Okay.
seen that timeline and everything that had to do with what we were negotiating,
And at that point, they hadn't even put in their application.
I know.
They were talking to staff at that point. The first time I heard anything that there was a concern was late September from them. They contacted me late September.
Okay, so late September was when you were also hearing about it.
And so, and I was not informed in advance that they were going to cancel it.
Okay, so,
We were prepared to approve it that Monday night.
mhm. Hmm.
So I'm not sure. I don't know if that's something that rises to the city manager. really.
That's my concern, or maybe a question. Maybe you weren't aware of it either
I
at
was
the
not.
time.
No, because
You
that
were
was,
not.
They were just having discussions with staff.
they were talking to the police department, they were talking to Parks and Rec.
Okay, so it didn't go any further than that at the time.
As best as I can, Commissioner, I see my job is to have you not be surprised.
Right, and maybe the fact that they didn't bring it to you then is an issue.
Or warned you.
Yeah,
Well, but I had met with them, and
You hadn't,
they didn't tell me.
Yeah.
I met with them and, shared some things. I think I probably copied the city manager on, some emails to staff about it.
mhm.
And, letting them know there was an issue. And staff thought it was ready to go.
obviously, because it was coming to us
Yeah.
to approve it.
I think there are more issues there.
Yeah, I never,
Yeah, and I don't want to simplify it, but
Yeah.
it's just a communication thing where not having been aware of this, what was a big enough issue we're now losing a year with Porch Fest and I'm not knowing anything about it from anybody. It's just a little concerning. But thank you for sharing that, Mr. Bonaparte, that you weren't aware of that either at the time. Okay.
Oh, I was going to ask, in terms of administrative developments, what do we mean there? Because I know there, when people have been let go or have left their
yeah,
jobs,
that's how I.
sometimes there was, it was like, well, why didn't you tell us?
Yeah.
Well, so I was supposed to tell you about that one, but what about these other three people that nobody said anything about?
Mhm.
Well, administrative
So-
development to me would be, new
Department.
hires, retirees, firings. That's what I,
Yeah.
that's what I,
Firings and department head level
yeah,
Yeah.
comings and
Yeah.
goings?
Mhm. Or having to hire consultants
Not,
because of our lack of staff.
yeah, not, I don't know what the job titles are, but not the, folks that are out, working in the park or, working on the streets, not that level. We're talking,
The people who might be here in front
Director.
talking to us about policy.
right, people that might be in this room right now.
Okay. Okay, so that was 2 out of those 8 items. Then we move on to democratic responsiveness. Is responsive to citizen requests from citizens, sets a professional example by handling affairs of public office in a fair and impartial manner, has the capacity to listen to others and to recognize their interests, meets with and listens to members of the community, discuss their concerns, and strives to understand their interests, provides an action plan, and follows up. Is open and available to the public, takes their concerns and problems seriously, recognizes the public's right and need to be well informed, is visible in the community, and conveys information effectively and matches presentation style to different audiences.
Commissioner Thomas, one of the comments that has been made in prior evaluations is that often members of the commission don't see when I interact with the public.
Yeah, very true. And I don't see a lot of that, but when I do see it, and you saw my comments here, the good thing is you're very visible to the community. That is amazing, and I appreciate you doing that, and we always will. And you continue to respect the diversity of our citizens, and that's a great thing. You excel at sharing the positive information about the city. But my other comment there was, when it comes to presentation style, from what I've observed, it doesn't seem to vary based on the audience. So you might have the same kind of introduction to a group of just average citizens versus a very professional setting. And that would be, to me, something that you could improve on over time. Because I think you've really polished what you do. Now it's a question of varying that based on knowing your audience. And I think that was the extent of the comment on that first one. Yeah.
Any other comments on that one?
Nope.
And again, I don't see a lot of interactions when he's meeting with the public, but the few that I remember from this year, one of the things that we have encouraged was, here's what I will do, and here's when you will hear back. And I have seen improvement in that, letting people know that when they should expect to hear something back from him, what his steps are going to be. I think I have seen that. Anything else under democratic responsiveness?
Yeah, the only other comment there, and we're probably going to touch upon this throughout the evaluation, but this again was the how and when we communicated major issues about the treatment plant and not having complete transparency. But, the more we talk about this, I think the more we'll realize we need to decide who is going to communicate what and when.
Okay, so under that one, there are 8 different things, and we talked about 3 of them. Their fiscal management makes a balanced budget to provide services at a level directed by the commission, makes the best possible use of available funds, conscious of the need to operate the city efficiently and effectively, plans for long-term replacement and maintenance of equipment and infrastructure, incorporates evolving role of technology in service provision, actively works to sustain cost-competitive government and utility services. Comments there?
And my first comment here on this section was, this is obviously my first budget review, but looking at the continuing increases over the last few years, my impression is that we can still do better. And while we considered the fire assessment fee to cover future capital, did we put ourselves in this position by not making the best possible use of funds to that point? And I really, of course, I always feel like we can do more, we can put more investment into technology to make our business more cost effective. I do keep seeing in our reports that we have system improvements in work, but the real progress, I'm still having a hard time seeing. We need better information on whether we just aren't being told about completed system improvements or whether there are legitimate reasons why they are taking so long. I'd also like more information about whether we are making the most of our budget for IT when it comes to integrating our systems.
I agree with you on that last part about the technology.
Yeah.
I think we continue to be behind the curve on that.
I know we don't have unlimited money there. I'm not bringing my corporate hat in here, but I think even given what we have budget-wise, we can do better when it comes to technology.
And we have spent a lot of money in IT.
Yeah,
A
so
lot of money.
let me see some more results.
In terms of, I think the comment about the fire assessment fee, I don't think we were putting ourselves in a position by not using funds appropriately. I think my perspective on that fire fee was setting us up for a better position in the future. And that was part of the problem we had with our argument was, well, we've got everything funded for this year. We don't need the assessment for this year.
Okay.
We need it for future years.
I don't disagree with you.
And we've also been hit with extreme increase in cost for equipment
Yeah.
that we could not have predicted, and the ever increasing salary and benefits. They have not. None of those have gone down. We've had a huge increase in public safety salaries since I've been here. And we're still, by some eyes, we're still behind the market.
And sewage treatment plant, notwithstanding. And I think that is, we are heading in the right direction with that. He's not listening to me. We're heading in the right direction with the utilities department and fixing some long-term issues. But I think we are way ahead in terms of managing long-term cost and capital replacement from where we were 10 or 20 years ago.
That's good perspective that I don't have.
It's, yeah, I mean, I think, and I've told this story 100 times, but I think one of my first commission meetings when I was first elected was an emergency purchase of a fire
Back in
engine.
1925?
Yep, 1925.
1925, yeah.
It's the pumper they use for parades. That was it, no. But, you know, whereas now we really do a better job tracking when do we need to replace stuff. And I think we see that in the capital improvement plan and in the replacement plan. I think utilities is going to catch up.
Yeah. It would be interesting if we could somehow summarize that particular part of the capital improvement plan so that the citizens can see in a summary, these are the projects we've budgeted, these are the things we're going to do in the future, and it's just not some vague concept of.
And one of my complaints about the capital improvement plan is, and you know, this is a complaint I've made many times. You know, it's sort of like, oh, we're going to fund everything next year.
Yeah.
We've gotten better. It's spread out a little bit better, but there's like just pie in the sky for next year.
And then reality says.
All of a sudden, next year,
then-
we're going to be able to do all that.
And for a while, we had shown what we had in the previous year, and that dropped off this budget.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a separate document to show over time what's each department beginning.
I need more of that. Better
that
trend
would be-
analysis.
that would be
I
very
harp on
helpful.
that a lot, but trend analyses really make numbers make sense and have an impact.
That was 4 out of 8 items there. Under reporting, which I think a lot of our conversation has already been about. Disseminating complete, accurate, and appropriate information equally to all members in a timely manner. And I think, you know, if you extend that to the public, I think it's a lot of what we've been talking about.
Yeah, so I won't rehash what we have already discussed. Of course, the detail that we haven't said yet was about the complete and accurate information, which did not include what we found out where the staff weren't maintaining the plan according to manufacturer's specs. The public's aware of that, so that's something that, you know, that's a ding. We've already talked about Porch Fest. My rating on reports actually would have been lower, but improvements have been made, and I really appreciate those improvements. So that in itself is a positive. They're not what I would expect for the most part, but I would still like to see more in the city manager's report about his actions with staff. So you talk a lot about all your meetings with the public and all the events that you attend, and please keep doing that because it's great. What's missing, and that might be mitigated by you and I meeting more often, is what are you doing each month with your staff? What are the activities there? What's the good and the bad? You know, maybe I had an issue with staff this week. Here it is. That's the missing piece for me.
That's interesting, because that also gets into the role of the mayor, of the commission, and the role of the manager.
Yeah, so we'll definitely meet more about that.
Okay.
And finally, on the dashboard, which I love, and what we've been getting pitched is great. I appreciate all the work. I'm anxious to see it, but we are kind of behind schedule, and that's why that's a little bit of a negative to me, is we had an expectation when we set goals that we'd be looking at something live in October, and it's just a little behind schedule. Okay, that's it for me.
All right, so that was 1 out of 3 items. Under annual goals, I think maybe almost all of them, at least one person had a 2. I would preface it with, I'm not sure we actually gave him his final list of goals until June.
Fair.
Did I miss something? Did I miss a page? I feel like I'm out of order.
You've always.
You're out of order.
Yeah, because annual goals skips a couple things. I guess
Give
we're
me the
coming
gavel.
back. So we jumped to number 9, annual goals.
We haven't skipped anything. I mean, the other sections were the departmental operations and staff effectiveness. So with departmental operations, I only did the score because I don't have the tenure to rate whether it's gotten better or worse.
Oh, no, we are to annual goals. Okay, so, you know, I don't know if we want to go through each one of these individually. I think,
I think maybe just some highlights.
you know, I'm the very bottom 2, I'm still concerned about. And I think the Mayfair issue is getting worked on in the new year. The Lily Court, they've done, you know, what they can. I really question whether there's a lot you can do when that was where the stream was. But I know they've talked about purchasing that house. You know, the implemented business advisory committee, I've talked to the city manager about that. I'm not sure how we need to do something to bring in the expertise from the community. I'm not sure what the right format for that is. You know, in terms of the infrastructure projects, I think he's done, you know, things are moving along. You know, if you think about all the things we've done, you know, the opportunity site is maybe the one that's hanging around there, and we're getting an update on that one today.
Yeah.
Other comments?
That and the sewage plant, those were the issues there, but the rest of them are good.
But, never mind.
What?
You just said something that made me pause, but no.
Business advisory committee, you looked at me when I started talking about that.
Yeah, what was the economic board you had, Norton?
It was the Economic Advisory Board,
Right.
and then COVID.
Right.
And then it was putting it back together, and what is it that we would want them to do?
Right,
And that was the question, and rather than meet to meet, until
Right.
we have a purpose for the meeting.
right. We never revived that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I don't know what I don't know what the vision is here in those comments, but maybe some version of that needs to be reborn.
Yeah, I think, and like I said, I think we need a way to get input from, especially, you know, I'll say professionals in the fields,
Mhm.
for lack of a better term.
Right.
I think we're doing that with the development review.
I was gonna say,
We're
we've
bringing
done
those
that
people
with
in.
planning and
We're
development,
doing that,
but we don't
um,
do that in other areas.
and I think I would like us to find a way to, I mean, because there are a lot of people out there that have something to offer, and it doesn't have to be a long-term board,
Right,
Mhm.
right.
but how do we tap into that? Anything else under there?
For all the goals, you mean?
Yeah.
Because a lot of them we did talk about, of course, with the treatment plan. I think the RFQ for the opportunity site could have been clearer in what was expected to avoid the rebid process we're now experiencing. It improved along the way, but I think it needed to still be a little better when we got to that point.
But that was a collective fault, not the city manager.
Yeah, it rolls up to the city manager's level to say to his
Well, no,
staff.
we were the ones that,
We did approve it.
we
We
approved
did approve it.
Yeah. So I don't know
Okay,
how,
you're right.
and I'll be honest, I wasn't crazy about what we approved. And apparently, maybe I was right, but
Maybe you're
we don't
right.
have those answers yet. We'll find
Yeah.
out in a little while.
Yes, we will.
So I think sometimes we need to, we're criticized for how slow we are to get things done. Mayfair took a long time to come together, but gosh, it came together really well.
And the fire station that's coming out,
Yeah, the fire station.
it's gonna be the same story there.
Right.
Yeah,
It
those
took
are
us a
good
long time to get that fire station going. We had to jump through a lot of hoops with the airport and et cetera, FAA.
Mhm.
I don't think people sometimes understand all the details and minutia. Just like the Goldsboro fields. I mean, we're still waiting on HUD, right? Am I wrong?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. And so, and before that, or maybe after that, we've got to work on some old plat work. Is that true, Chris? Is there still some plat issues out there, or am I crazy?
Floodplain issue.
Floodplain. So there's just so many details. And I'll say this, I wanted to say this later, I'll just say it now. We don't take a minute to celebrate our victories, ever. But it seems like we continue to hound on the negatives and the issues.
Well, we're discussing the negative ratings right now, so it
Well, no,
probably
no.
seems that way.
I mean, in general.
Okay, yeah, that's in general,
In
yeah.
general, all we ever bring up is the negatives, and all we ever want to talk about is why isn't this done? Why is Bentley wearing that hat? We're always why, but we never go, gosh, Bentley, you look sharp today.
Kind of like our vocal citizens who
Yeah.
are the
Yeah.
keyboard warriors.
Yes. So Saturday was an amazing day for the city. That building is a huge accomplishment for us. That golf course,
That we almost lost, right?
that golf
Yeah.
course funding itself now is a huge accomplishment.
Yeah.
And those are decisions that some of us were a part of, but nonetheless happened under Mr. Bonaparte's watch. That golf course has done a 180 in a short amount of time. In a very short amount of time. And those were decisions made by a collective unit up here and staff input that put us in this position. Never heard of Down to Earth. Down to Earth is doing a doggone good job for us out there.
They are, I
For the
work for
first
them.
time, for the first time in history of the course.
Yep.
And so we don't celebrate our victories enough, and we don't put them out there enough. Sorry for my tangent.
Okay, that was good.
Right, so, I'll come back to that. Anything else under the annual goals? Oh,
I have, so I've been here before we did the goals, and I've been here after.
I think we had way too many goals this year.
And so I didn't like the fact that we never had goals, and quite honestly.
And now we have too many.
Well, no, quite honestly, you probably would be shocked by this. For a couple of years, I wasn't sure what Norton did, and that, that, just being honest. And so these evaluations were really hard. And so the fact we finally came up with the idea of giving them goals was a good idea. But yeah, going back to the fact that it takes so much time and effort to get some things done, for many reasons, maybe he doesn't need 263 goals a year, maybe just 200.
So
And
come
I'm just
January,
being-
we'll get a balance there.
Well, and.
Somewhere
and I
between
was-
0 and what we have.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and I was gonna say it at the end, but I'll say it now. I'll try to go through the comments and the goals and things that we've added and try to narrow it down. And then, I would like to finalize
Yeah, good plan.
in January. You know,
No,
which is still 3 months into the year.
No, we did no favors, this past year, but, well, it doesn't matter. Oh,
I also think too, to be fair to him, if we gonna make sure that we, grade him, we know what we grade him on. That means we got to go and sit down and talk to him. Commissioner also just said a key. I can't get out here and give him, and I know people say, that don't bother me, I give what I've experienced with him, and that's how I grade it. But if there's something on here I don't know, if I see it on here, then I need to go and sit down with him to be fair to him, to find out what he does or what he does not do. 'Cause that ain't fair to him. I wouldn't want nobody to judge me that way.
don't worry, we're judging.
Yeah, that's a good point, Commissioner. There were some things that I didn't have answers on, so I did go to get them. So we covered all of the objectives before I rated them.
All right, anything else under goals? We'll try to fix that.
I did put a positive in there. I think we did great work on the REEI recommendations, and I'm hoping that our renaming is beneficial. I think that's still
Holding
happening.
off on the renaming.
Okay. Well, I still love what they've done.
And they're okay with that.
Okay, cool. Good.
All right, then under staff effectiveness, that's not us, that was staff. I think it's interesting. I think staff rated them higher than we do. Which I guess is a good thing for a boss.
Yeah, because I wouldn't rate my boss that high.
The new and continuing objectives for next year, goals for next year. I'll take all those and consolidate them. Any comments that anybody wants to make on any of those? I think we continue, I think I will keep customer service training on that list. That's when I think we do a good job most of the time, but we always hear about it when we don't.
Well,
I got one end of last week, why was my water turned off? Well, the answer was because you haven't been paying your bill.
yeah, that's tough, yeah.
Hmm.
Or your auto pay failed or something, yeah.
So, right, and then, what would you identify as results achieved during the evaluation period? Representatives of strengths, increase in pace of infrastructure repairs and maintenance, major development projects complete or nearly complete, improvement in pay for police, fire, closeout of CRA, new mall owner, Mr. Bonaparte continues to excel in the relationships with the public. He also maintains high level of professionalism during commission meetings. His responses to my inquiries are for the most part very timely in response. And when I say my inquiries, that's not my comment, that's what another commissioner's
That was
comment.
mine, yeah.
Okay, ability to handle public situations in a professional manner. He has financial and budgeting expertise. He's accountable and accepts responsibility for his actions. What performance areas would you identify as needing improvement? Lack of progress on the opportunity site, which we're about to hear about. We need our city manager to focus more on long-term solutions. He needs to be willing to take risks where necessary and make short-term sacrifices for long-term gains. Mr. Bonaparte does well in responding to direct requests for assistance, but can do better in keeping the commission informed about progress against goals. 2 examples were the North
Treatment plant and
treatment
Porch Fest.
plant, and Sanford Porch Fest,
Yeah.
those we already talked about.
Mhm.
I also like to see more evidence that we are responding thoroughly to businesses who continue to raise issues about city processes. Mr. Bonaparte should be coaching his staff to respond to public with more empathy and transparency versus what may appear to be a defensive posture. Communication, both to public and commission on issues, needs to be updated timely, reducing bureaucratic delays and improving interdepartmental coordination. Can I flag that with purchase orders? And improving project delivery timeliness and infrastructure maintenance and planning. Okay, and I won't read all of the department director's comments. Great, so that gets us through all of it.
Well, almost all of it.
What?
I don't want to give short shrift to the detailed reasons that Commissioner Britton gave for not doing an evaluation. And we're probably going to get to this when it comes to how we're going to average out all these ratings when we don't have them all.
Well, she made the decision not to include an evaluation.
She did.
And we all knew we were supposed to do an evaluation. And we all had time to do it.
So none of us feel a need to share what she wrote in her letter.
I can read her letter. I don't know if she wants me to, but I can.
Well,
Pass it down.
it probably would be up to her whether or not she would want
I
us
mean, it's
to.
public record.
It's public record, anybody can ask for it.
Pass it on down. And I mean, I recognize her frustration in some of this, but, and she sent this to Sharon Kranick, our HR director. Greetings, Sharon. This correspondence serves as my official written response regarding the city manager's annual evaluation. I've chosen not to complete a new evaluation form this year. My reasoning is based on my belief that the process, as it currently stands, is neither meaningful nor effective in driving accountability or improvement. The evaluations submitted in previous years have not led to visible change, nor do I feel that the perspectives and concerns expressed by me have been acknowledged or taken seriously. As a result, I see no value in resubmitting a new evaluation. Human Resources may refer to my previous year's evaluation as my standing position, as my assessment and concerns remain unchanged. I continue to represent the voice of my district, and my constituents have made their dissatisfaction with the current leadership direction clear. I have also voiced my position regarding the need for change within city management, yet my concerns have not been met with genuine consideration. Therefore, I do not believe a merit increase or raise is warranted at this time, especially given the fiscal challenges and cutbacks the city is currently facing. Lastly, the recent use of artificial intelligence by our city manager to create a public-facing message to the community reflects a deeper issue of authenticity and accountability in leadership. Just as that approach displayed a lack of genuine concern, I must acknowledge that I now share a similar lack of confidence in this evaluation process. Since I've read that, I'll respond to a couple of things. I believe the evaluation process has led to some changes, and I think we have acknowledged changes the city manager has made based on the evaluations we have given him. Several years ago, he told me, if the city commission would tell me what they want me to work on, that's what I would work on, and that's when we started doing the goals. I don't know that the city manager used artificial intelligence. I know that Commissioner Britton has said that it should be used for appropriate things. So
Okay.
that's my feeling on that.
So would Sharon be in a position to say, yes, I will use the ratings from last year so that we have legitimate averages?
Do you want me to respond to that?
If I may respond to it.
Sure. What's fair?
The evaluation was given for this year to be responded to.
Mhm.
It is not an evaluation if it has not been completed. And to refer to a past evaluation is contrary to the process. Pursuant to the agreement that we have, that the city has with the city manager, he is to be evaluated each year. And I don't know what the particulars are in the letter, so I can't respond to them in the sense of I don't know what were the issues with the evaluation for which Commissioner Britton speaks of. But each evaluation stands on its own. And so I do not see a process in which you can just refer back retroactive to a last year's evaluation and include that in the averaging for this evaluation.
Appreciate that. I just wanted to pose the question. When I put on my HR hat, of course, I agree with you that we have to base it on this year's performance. I just wasn't sure if Sharon had any confusion about how she was going to consolidate everything. So,
Can
we're
I
good.
share? Well, she brought this to my attention because I was asking about getting the evaluations and said that she felt uncomfortable using a
Okay.
prior year's evaluation for this year.
Okay.
And given, that from the dais, we have complained about employee evaluations not being done in a timely manner.
Speaking of, yeah.
And the changes that HR has made in terms of how those are getting done to make sure everyone gets one done in a timely way. And I also point out that it was a couple of years ago, while Commissioner Britton was on the commission, that we wrote this evaluation for. We spent several meetings back and forth.
Yep,
You
put it together.
Yeah, I can
reviewing
imagine.
how do we want this? So.
Okay.
You
All
know,
right.
unfortunately, sometimes in life we're given rules and procedures to follow we may not always agree with or like. We operate under a charter, and the charter is specific in how we're to operate. And Mr. Bonaparte has a professional services contract with the city that has specific details in it on how we are to handle this situation. And unfortunately, these are the cards we're dealt. And as elected officials, we need to play the cards we're dealt.
True, very true. There was a time after doing many, many, many of these when me and a lot of my peers were getting to the point of saying, are performance reviews really worth the time and effort that goes into them? So there were people, and there may still be people in other places saying, just drop them completely. But we do have them, and I don't disagree with you that, again, I don't have the history, but it does seem like there has been some productive things that have happened as a result of them. So if all of us
I can tell you,
put the time in,
6 years ago, this would have taken 10 minutes.
Yep. When I first got here.
yeah,
We said, everybody got everybody's evaluation?
Uh-huh.
Any discussion? Okay. And that was the review.
yeah, and I would just, so this is definitely better
So
than
I
that.
think
I
we are.
You
are
give it
doing
short
an-
shrift. If you're going to do it, do
we're
it properly.
We are making an honest attempt at doing the best we can at an honest evaluation.
Well, I might be speaking out of turn here, Mayor, and you can cut off my mic. With your previous past expertise and experience, if you have recommendations on changing this the review form or evaluation form, perhaps maybe we could use your expertise and set
Are
up
you
a
talking to
meeting.
me or her?
No, Commissioner Thomas.
Yeah.
And set up a workshop at some point
Yeah.
to discuss it.
I would not be adverse to that.
Okay.
And trust me, I wouldn't come in here and say, this is the way somebody else did it, we should do the same.
Right.
But we could certainly consider other ways and then come together and say, are there pieces of other forms or processes that
And,
would help us?
And if you remember, I think back in June, we said, here's the form if anyone wants to change something. And we did, the only change we made was recommending that comments be made. So, but I'll tell you, we looked at a lot of different city manager review forms and tried to take the best of the ones we could find.
Yeah.
And we used our subject matter expert at the time, our human resources director, to help us with this process.
And I trust all of that, and that's why I haven't really said much about the process. Just tried
no,
to
but-
use the
Yeah,
process.
if you've got a
we
better
have.
idea for a better
Yeah, no, I'm
process,
just saying.
we're all ears.
If you've got the experience and expertise, please help us.
Only if it's applicable and would be appropriate to use here.
Okay. All right. So any final comments on the evaluation?
Well, I'll say what I've said in the past. I based my evaluation, I think, on something similar to Commissioner Wiggins said earlier, but, you know, I'm good.
Okay. All right. Then we will bring this up at the end of the meeting for a motion and a vote.
Yeah. I think my only other comment would be that I respect the fact that Mr. Bonaparte has had some tough times this year with the loss of his daughter, and I try to take that into consideration. It shouldn't impact how I evaluate his performance, but it's not something we ignore, and we appreciate the fact that he had to go through that. So.
Well, since you mentioned it, I think sometimes Mr. Bonaparte is judged unfairly by first of all, like we talked earlier, lack of understanding of who's supposed to be doing stuff around here. That's number one. Number two, he had a personal tragedy that did take his attention elsewhere, and I can't imagine being in his shoes, trying to balance the two. And so the timing was not the best for everybody, but that's the way stuff handles. That's the way stuff goes sometimes. But we had professionals on staff who were handling the situation as best they could, and I still feel like they did the best they could. We just didn't necessarily get it communicated properly. But we're going to work on better procedures for that, and better ways to handle that as we move forward. I know we are.
Okay. All right, then we will move on to the next item. Did you have any comments you wanted
I
to
just
make?
want to say I appreciate the comments of the commission, and as I indicated, I would look to meet with each of you to go over the evaluation, and as Commissioner Thomas has indicated, perhaps looking to have regular meetings, maybe quarterly meetings with each of you, which years ago we did, and then it fell off, but I'll share that with you
Let's do that again.
when you did, so, okay, thank you.
Okay.
Yes, next item is the update on the opportunity site, and with that, we have Craig.
Good afternoon, Mayor and City Commissioners. I thought to start with a little background first of what we did last time, just as a reminder to you all. We put it out, and you remember we had a couple work sessions to talk about the scope of what we wanted to put it out. And intentionally, we kind of set it vague. So we wanted to see what the market could provide or what the development groups could provide us. And what they did is the market provided a lot of residential, it was heavy residential. So the committee decided to rebid the process. We took it back to you at a work session or a regular meeting, and the City Commission concurred, let's go out to rebid again. So our next goal here is to refine that scope and kind of narrow down what we really want on the sites. In the meantime, the CRA funded the passive park design work, and that's in the process now. And that's at 90% right now. We hope to have 100% construction documents in maybe a month or so. We'll see. We're reviewing those documents now. So the goal and the plan was to use those passive park designs in the bid package, put it in there. And the passive park is the area where we're looking at the grassy lot across from the Civic Center on the northern portion of it. And then the southern portion of that same grassy lot, we're going to provide, we talked about using some providing some shady structures or gathering areas for the folks. And so we could have that kind of narrowed down in the bid package of what we're going to do when we get those construction documents, 100% design. We'll include that in the bid. And then the other area we're going to look at is the Millings lot across from the library, between the library and the Monroe Hall Civic Center. So we'll concentrate on those two lots first. And then we'd also decided to hold off on the courthouse parking until we see what talks come on with Seminole County. So we could put that on hold too. And then Monroe Hall, we really haven't decided what we're going to do there, although we have submitted an appropriations form to the state for help in Monroe Hall thing.
I think we pulled that one.
Oh, we did? Okay. All right. Never mind.
Sorry. That one did not get a rousing response from one of our legislators.
Oh, okay. The last email, I thought he was going to sponsor it, but I guess he changed his
He's
mind.
in
Okay.
Civic Center and nutrients.
Okay, all right. So nevertheless, I think at some point we got to decide what we're going to do with Monroe Hall, whether we're going to spend some money and fix it up or what. But I think we could put those two priority as the grassy lot in the RFP and the Millings lot and figure out what we're going to do. So I think we got the passive park pretty much nailed down what we're going to do there. We'll have the bid package and then shady structures or gathering lot on the southern part of that. But I really wanted to get some help with you all on the Millings lot. I think we're still looking at having a parking structure on that area and maybe some mixed-use structure facing First Street. So staff is gonna put together maybe some more detailed on the percent of residential, maybe a number of units, maybe a percent of retail restaurants on the first floor, upper floors residential, and maybe some office space if you prefer. But I think we really, in order to get some good bids and pre-market this, Brady and I have been talking about pre-marketing, and I think that's a good idea, to let the development groups know what we really want on that piece. So just some ideas I throw out. And the goal is to come to you maybe in a January work session with another draft RFQ before we put it out, to make sure you guys are good with it before we put it out to bid, so we could discuss it one more time. But the city manager just wanted to update up to you on where we are with the opportunity site. So we're kind of on hold until the passive park design gets through, and then we'll be ready to go after that. So maybe maybe a large, like the first floor retail restaurant, first floor on the Millings lot, maybe 50 units for the upper floors, if that's okay, or if you think that's too heavy. That's what we're going to start with. So we'll draft that up. I'm not sure about office, how you feel about office space on those. Really, we looked at some previous plans for Heritage Park, and it had a lot more residential, and I don't know if we want that at 75% residential, so we looked at that from previous plans. So really,
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Who's we?
I'm sorry.
Who's we?
It was the final presentation.
No. I thought you said we've looked at. I thought you were meeting with somebody discussing this.
Oh, no. It's just
okay.
staff. When I refer to we, it's just mainly staff.
Okay, so planning.
Planning, economic
okay.
development
That was
primarily.
going to be my next question. What are we allowed to do on that lot?
Yeah, and I'm working with planning, Eileen and Chris specifically, and then Pamela Lynch and Brady on the economic development side. That's really the core group that we're working on this.
Okay.
So that's the 5 people that were on the RFQ committee, and I'm just continuing to use them for input on this. So, but we really like to hear what you guys would like on the Millings lot, and see if you agree with what I presented, and we could kind of draft that up and let you know. And of course, we have another chance to look at it before we go out to bid. I'd like to share that with you and have another discussion on it. But that's what Chris has up there, is what Heritage Park had planned. But I think we need the parking structure on that piece right there for sure.
This is the gravel.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Your passive park is being designed right here. So you have basically an entire block and then one half of the north, you have the south one half of the north, one half of the property actually like.
Yeah, I like the idea of possibly some office in there on the upper floor.
But yeah, not on the
Not
first
just
floor.
residential.
No. So do you think a retail and restaurants would be first floor?
Yes.
I think that's
Yeah.
good.
We need more retail on a first floor where people are walking around the buildings and they're shopping.
And, you know, I had been looking at just residential above. I hadn't thought about office.
Do we
Well-
need more office space?
Well, I wish we had a subject matter expert on what the market is demanding right now.
Yeah.
I think office space is becoming less,
Right.
less desired or less needed. So I dare
I don't
think-
know that it's going to fly, but
Right,
putting that in there is an option, I think.
Yeah.
okay.
Because it's been true for years now, but there is becoming a trend toward bringing people back into offices,
Well, there is, but
but not a huge amount.
we have to get those people to come,
Yeah.
want to be down here.
Yeah.
So,
I'm glad we're moving forward, to this point, with keeping some of this undeveloped. You know, I don't think we have to develop every single piece of property we have.
amen, brother.
And I'm not sure we have to move forward with an opportunity site if there's not really an outstanding opportunity. I like the fact that we've kept most of this in-house and we put it out and we didn't like what we got. And we don't have to do anything.
Unless we come back with a creative design that somebody comes to us and says,
Right.
we're still going to preserve some of the natural environment there and improve that piece of it that's a natural environment
It's-
with better landscaping.
Twice now we've put out something about a garage, right? And we never really got too far with it, and I think there were, the response wasn't resounding, hey, we're gonna build you a garage. It's, well, how about we give you a garage and a whole bunch of apartments?
Well,
The garage,
yeah, we're gonna have to help pay for the garage.
Yes,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
We know we're gonna
That's
have to-
public parking. I
Yeah.
don't think developers are interested in that.
So this is not my favorite site for a garage, but it's a site we own.
That's the
Right.
thing.
So we have skin in the game for this, becoming a garage, perhaps. But I'm still not convinced we need it.
I'm not either.
And I'm not convinced, it should be us. If the market really said we needed a garage downtown, somebody probably would have already come and done it. If they thought the ROI was there for them.
There's not an ROI.
No. And so,
And when I suggested that downtown businesses help pay for it, we suddenly didn't need a garage.
yeah, no, all of a sudden it wasn't an issue. So,
And if we really need one, it would have to be multiple stories, and that's not going to be great for a view unless you put it somewhere else other than that site. That
Well,
site
it-
is just
it-
not a
It would
good
be
place.
surrounded by the other stuff.
Hmm.
It's not just gonna be a standalone.
If
garage.
we do surround it, the rest of that site with other stuff.
But, you know,
So-
in terms of doing something, I think it's worthwhile to get that gravel lot built up.
yeah,
I think that fills in that gap in the
Mhm.
city. It connects a little bit better to down, to the river. Especially if we do the green space.
but we don't have to.
No, we don't.
We can rework this. I'm fine with that. Let's rework this and let's put our heads together and see what happens. But we don't have to.
No, we take a very hard look at what comes back
Um,
versus not.
and man, would it be nice to have? We're never going to be some of the cities I like, so I don't want to compare us to another city. But there are cities that actually have grass lots, that actually have trees and flowers and
Yeah, if we don't build on that lot, we need to landscape it and
Improve
make
it.
it a real parking lot.
if we are looking at
Imagine how big the oak trees would be if we planted them.
refurbishing the civic center or bringing it back to new, a beautiful passive park across the street from the civic center would be wonderful.
Mhm.
Instead of, how many cars can we cram in here tonight?
Well, and one of the things that, and we're running out of time here, but one of the things that sort of drove me to less look at keeping that green space was when MLK had their event on that space, and
Right.
other people started having events on that space.
Right.
And tying them to the Civic Center.
Right.
Which ties to the marina.
Right.
Which ties to downtown.
Yep.
Way better than trying to do stuff down at Fort Mellon Park.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, the idea that everything should be down at Fort Mellon Park isn't realistic, because it's far.
Okay, anything else?
Yes,
Or anything
Mr. Mayor, at this point, what the city commission has done in the past, in terms of the city clerk's evaluation, is indicated to have the city manager move forward and then also bring it to the city commission. So I want to know, it is time for Tracy's evaluation. How did you wish to handle that?
Like we did last year.
Yep.
Right?
You're doing a fantastic job.
Thank you.
Not her, you.
That's all,
Not
Mr. Mayor.
her.
Okay, so it's 6:15. I do want to make one comment. I don't know if anybody's here yet for it, and hopefully everybody's gotten word. We're going to do the unveiling of the quilt from Goldsboro tonight. That has been postponed to February 9th.
8th?
Nikki? February 9th. Just to make sure they have enough time to do the quilt and do a good job on the quilt and get it all framed and everything.
We'll just be
we'll do that
pining
then.
even longer waiting for that to happen.
All right, anything, Commissioner Thomas?
Nope.
Commissioner Austin?
Were we supposed to discuss Main Street at the workshop?
No,
Okay.
we can if you want to real quick. But it's
We'll
on
talk
the
about it
agenda.
tonight.
It's on the agenda tonight.
Yeah.
I know, I thought,
Okay.
I thought we were gonna discuss it, but that's fine, we don't have to.
All right, Commissioner Wiggins? All right, then we're adjourned.
Correction.